Hey, being there, Charlie, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for me, man. I appreciate all y'all coming to tune in to me, man. Remember, share all the videos, man. Show me love, man. Cash that Billionaire channel. If you love the channel, man, you support my brand. Go ahead and put in a donation, man, to keep the channel growing and getting better and better. So it's cash tag Billionaire Charlie, man. I thank y'all for tuning in to me and supporting my channel and all the newcomers. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all, man. Peace to the guys out there. Peace to all the good Muslim brothers and sisters out there. Peace to all my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters and all my Christian brothers and sisters. And just thanks to everybody that watched and tuned in, man. But we're going to get into it, man. T.I., David Gross, and Nipsey Hussle situation, right? And everybody's wondering why is T.I. getting in bed with an individual that they believe have a lot of influence in cricket business when it came down to Nipsey Hussle. Now, I've been enlightened by a couple of people that's been inboxing me and emailing me and things of that nature. And they were saying that the reason why he was signing and doing a lot of things for Nipsey Hussle because of his Nipsey Hussle charges or record or something like that. And what was going on is like he ain't got on no record or something like that, allegedly anyway, what they was saying. And he was putting his name on the paper because he got a better balance sheet when it come down to him as a person compared to Nipsey Hussle as a person. And we talking charges and things of that nature. So basically, he was just using his name because it looked better and it's more presentable to the things he's trying to do within the real estate market and situations like that. Do I believe all this stuff? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? I just believe it was cricket business and a lot of foul things going on with that. And a lot of people believe that he did a lot of trickery when it came to business with Nipsey Hussle. And everybody wondering what the heck is T.I. doing. Now, me personally, and as we all know, T.I. is a very intelligent and smart individual with a lot of people around him that know what the heck they're doing. So I know when he go into business, he's not going to allow these people to try to do those type of things to him. Whatever, you know what I mean? With the Nipsey Hussle thing, I don't really know who was behind a lot of that stuff, but they say this man's name is on all those projects that Nipsey Hussle was doing. So I'm confused by that, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, Snoop was saying Nipsey came to him before he went to these guys and working with them because he wanted to do it with Snoop, but Snoop didn't really want to invest into a lot of the programs and stuff that was going on in L.A. So that being said, man, he's like an owner of the shop and all of that. I'm like, whoa. When I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is looking very spooky and suspect. Then he talking about they supposed to be tearing it down. I'm like, why would they? I was with homie. Why would they tear down the smart store they just put together? Maybe that was all a part of the thing to gain a certain amount of revenue and then sell it. And I don't know, but I just think it just didn't sound right with a lot of stuff because they were saying that Nipsey Hussle had no business with a lot of these programs and stuff that he was signing for. His name went on none of this stuff. It was this guy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, y'all. I don't know, but we're gonna listen to this and see what's going on with this T.I. thing.
He's sitting on the goal line.
It's opportunity. I have been zoned for opportunity. You sit down and you have a conversation with Nipsey, you quickly know that he is bigger than his music. You know, a lot of our conversations were just always based in what literature we were reading at the time. And, you know, a book that he was big on was A Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. And, you know, he walked around with, you know, the Malcolm X piece on his neck. And if you know anything about the Nation of Islam, they're all about doing for self. And that really was his motto. You know, when you saw what he did in his town and how he just wasn't waiting on anybody to save us. He wasn't waiting on anybody to help us. He was assisting us on his own and helping himself. And so it's like those are just the conversations that I think we all need, because we all got to empower ourselves in some way, shape, or form. And I think that he was the perfect example of that. And I think he actually represents the new wave of that, because it's not a new concept, right? Doing for self, investing in your own, empowering your own people, hiring your own. But it's something that sometimes a lot of us tend to get away from. You know, and he was a person that never got away from it. And, you know, he showed improved through actions and deeds. So that's just the type of people that I vibe with. So.
And then the next step, of course, is taking that vision and expanding it across different cities. And T.I., I know Atlanta, you were already doing some of these things, but our opportunity and what Dave and Nipsey were kind of thinking of, gave you an additional framework to put it into, right?
Yeah, the way my infrastructure was set up was much less organized than Dave's and Nip's. However, it was just as strategic. I identified some years ago that, and one of my buddies who happens to be a reverend, he said this to me. He said, "Hey man, why is it that the answer to the problems in our community is always for us to get rich and move out and never come back, right?" And at the same time, I'm witnessing what's going on in Atlanta, what was going on in Atlanta, and I could kind of relate it to what I saw go on in Brooklyn and Harlem. And when it came to my part of town, which is the West Side, Bankhead, Simpson Road, Zone 1, which is a stone's throw from the $2 billion Mercedes-Benz Dome, I said, well, there's no way that I'm going to have all of this access, all of these resources, all of these relationships, and not put it into effect to not only benefit my own selfish, profitable means, but also to do well for the community and help the people in there who, one, were the heart and soul of.
See, that's always the vision, man, when you go into see, this is the thing, man, and this is what I always say, man. We as people, man, that don't understand the real estate and market and stuff like that, you going into business with people that understand it at a very high level, and we go into it with a kid mind, like, we about to clean up the neighborhood, we about to do this or do that. They have their own imagery of what they want to do with their neighborhood. And like he said, a lot of people got their own selfish purpose of what they want to do with those neighborhoods. You going in there talking about, I want to clean it up, make it better for the people that you grew up around that's still living in those neighborhoods. When they like, you know what, I want to tear this whole thing down and get rid of all the people that you grew up with. And they begin to change the model. This is when the Nipsey Hussle thing started to come in. Because now people are hearing about him tearing down the store and all of this. We trying to figure out, where did that motive come from? Where did that story come from? You know what I'm saying? It confuses you. Like I say, it's like you hitting the jackpot for a bunch of millions of dollars. And you like, you know what? Me and my family gone. Other people begin to find out that you got that millions of dollars, and everybody begging. Now nobody don't like you because you don't want to give them this, and that person don't like you because they don't want to give them that. Now you having all this money don't feel as happy. It's because everybody's trying to get a piece of it, and everybody got their own mindset of what you should do with your money. And this is what happened with this real estate stuff, man. It's like he have an idea what he's trying to do, but do other people that's involved trying to do their own thing for their own selfish reasons. You did?
Of the community and the native land, and who are now being pushed out due to gentrification, and two, to just create a self-sustaining ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? Where no matter what the government does or what the state does, or who decides to come into this community, we can build enough for ourselves for it to be self-sustainable. And when I met Dave, he was saying that, what me and Nip is doing over here, we should all come together and connect the dots between Atlanta and LA and New York. And
so let me jump in, because I want to see, I don't know if you remember this story. So when Nipsey was doing his promo run for Victory Lap, that's when we launched Vector 90. And so he mentioned that in every interview. At the time, you reached out to him and you were like, hey, I want to do it in Atlanta.
Right.
You guys get to Atlanta, I want to do it. So fast forward, after you got nominated for the Grammy, you were at that Grammy performance.
Okay.
And that's when I first came up to you.
Okay.
And I was like, hey,
I don't remember. You see how unorganized I am?
So literally the connection was there. You just didn't, you forget.
I do?
You reached out to Nip. You were like, no, I want to do that in Atlanta. But speaking to like alignment and kind of vision. So prior to Nip's death, I went down to Atlanta to connect with Tip and to see what he had going on. And very much just a doer, because we were driving, he was showing me the West End, and we're driving around. He was like, so I was like, what have you invested in? What do you own? And he was kind of like, look around. And I was like, okay. He was like, so I own that, I own that, I own that, I own that. And he's just very radical and aggressively buying back his block, which is what we were trying to do in LA.
Can I add on something out there too? I think everything T.I. said is very important, but also we got to add unity.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. See that right there? This is what a lot of people do. Now, they get into the rap game and what they want to do. Go to the clubs, go to strip clubs, buy a bunch of jewelry. They're not thinking about their kids' life after this situation. You got to invest. You got to start to build these programs. But you want to be in bed with an individual that understands your vision and understand that and you got to have people that's going to have your back. See, when we look at Master P and stuff like that, we down them. They say bad stuff about them. But Master P been talking about this for years, man. Owning your own stuff. Dame Dash been talking about this for years. Owning your own stuff, buying back your community, man, and investing and just bringing life into the world, man. You got all this money, do something productive with it. You don't got to sit around all day doing drugs and doing crazy stuff. Be productive in your community, bro, and start to expand, not just in your area, but all over, and begin to bring them gaps together and people together. You can work with people from the neighborhood, as long as they got good intention, because you know there's a lot of negative people out here that can't see your vision beyond their own selfishness. You feel what I'm saying? So like I say, man, this is what it's all about, man. But the stuff that we heard on the paperwork and the stuff that came out about Dave was really bad, man. As far as that Nip thing. Now, like I say, people were saying it was the reason for it, but they was using his name for a different reason. At the end of the day, that stuff's still in that man's name. So I don't know how that worked with the family. So
Group operation to that.
Sure.
Because it's a lot of information that I'm not aware of that somebody like Dave can give me. And I think a lot of times we have the resources, we have the influence, but we just don't have the information. So I think that unity, group operation, and information, like there's no need to keep secrets from each other. This is true. Like we all trying to save our communities together.
Absolutely. So let me kind of tie that together.
that's a fact, bro. That's the thing I always say about people. Like as we growing up and as we trying to do better for ourselves and our family, what happens in the community, bro, is everybody's selfish. Man, I went to school for this. I went to do this, so I'm not about to help the next man. And that's what we get in our community. Nobody want to help the next man. Nobody want to better people in their community. And then they look down on me. I'm like, if a person want to learn the education or want to help and they asking you, bro, help them out. Let's work together. Solomon is right on that, bro. We don't have people in our community like that. Everybody for self, bro.
Because your question starting off was how can we connect with what we were doing in LA, what he's doing in Atlanta. So we closed on 2 properties that he and I invested in last week. So 2 plots of land adjacent to each other that we're going to develop and we'll likely buy into our fund. And then bigger picture to what Charlemagne just said, that's the very point of our opportunity, to kind of like distill this information down and share it in a way that people can take it and do something with it. So it's not just more information overflow.
I think one of the things I want to point out, and you've seen it woven through the discussion in today, but there's a lot of concern about the opportunity zones, that money will come into the community and overwhelm the community and push people out. The great thing about our opportunity is that it identifies the players and the value in the community and tries to get the money behind them. And so we take someone like Nipsey Hussle, who's been demonstrating his skill, his value, what he can bring to the neighborhood, and it gets the resources behind him so that he can own Slauson Plaza. And let me just point out Slauson Plaza. The Olympics are coming to Los Angeles in 2028. Every person that takes mass transit from LAX has to make a train stop at Slauson Plaza. Wow. Every single person, bar none. So that's the kind of information we try to, again, pair together and say, this is an opportunity. The money ought to follow people like that who already see the value, who already have the relationships, and already have the knowledge of how to work in the neighborhoods, as opposed to the reverse.
And I think that actually connects to a thing we were talking about before, which is, there was the old approach, which is, I started a clothing line, I'm gonna, have my shop on Rodeo Drive, and it's gonna be a status thing. versus what Nipsey was doing, which is I'm going to start a clothing line. I'm going to have the actual shop be in Crenshaw, in my home area, and the people will come. And I think that's a crucial lesson, right?
I think it absolutely is, because traditional investors would have told him, you can't have a store there. You'll never be successful, and they would have had 89 reasons why you can't. He said, I'm here every day. By the way, I was selling socks and t-shirts on the same corner before I was famous enough for you to know who I was. I can have a store here, and I am going to have a store here. And in fact, one of the brilliant things about the Marathon store, you have to go to the Marathon store to see some video content and hear some music content, because you have to point your phone at a picture that's on the wall only in the Marathon store. And guess what? People come. And they're continuing to come to this day.
I want to ask a question. Why do you think other people see gold in our neighborhoods and we don't?
Well, I think because it's by design. You know, I do believe that at a certain point in time, there's a strategy.
Well, and let me give you my opinion on that, man. When you come from an area that's like that, that's violent, that's people that's doing negative stuff all the time, your first concept in your mind is to get away from that, because you want to make sure your family, friends, and everybody is safe. We don't see value in that area because we see such negative things for years. Like over years, all the bodies and situations that go on over the years, it discourages you to want to do business in that area because you see all the crookedness and all the things that's going wrong in that area. You'd rather go into like a suburban neighborhood and do it because you feel like you're going to get your money once. You ain't got to worry about all the stealing and taking and stuff like that. And you just don't have those same problems you would have in a Slauson or whatever you at in a bad neighborhood. And that's what we see all our life. So it's like, it's time to get away from these stories and this situation. And you just want to move forward because it's not glamorous to be in a neighborhood with somebody doing drive-bys and stuff.
The powers that be that sit in ivory towers and look down at all the poverty that exists and says, well, we'll just let that go on for so long. Okay, well, then we'll tear down the projects and we'll push people out to the outskirts, and then we'll get enough people to come in and invest our money on things like stadiums and domes. And because most of the stadiums and domes are right across the street from poverty-stricken areas. So once they build these stadiums and domes and billions of dollars are being ingested into this community, well then there's nothing left to do but come by and buy all of the blighted property in the area and fix it up, and before you know...
This is the fact, man. The Norfolk Scope, you know what I mean, the arena and our, the Opera House is right across the street from Tower of the Park and Yon's Park. You know what I'm saying? The projects. Both of them jumps right there. The Nova, right there by the mall. All that stuff is right by the projects. So he's telling the truth when he said this, man. And then same with Staples. Most of the places is right down the street from the hood.
You got, you know, white people walking their dog down the street. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you know your property just went up. You know, at least that's what happened in Bankhead.
But to your initial question, why have other people invested when people from our community haven't? So one is capital, having the capital to invest. And we're talking about low-income neighborhoods, so by definition, people from the neighborhood might not have the money. And so people who move on might have it. And the second thing is information, because you start...
See, that's crazy, because you got a lot, man. This is the thing, man. You be having dope dealers in the neighborhood that's worth millions of dollars, man. And they just don't invest in none of this stuff. Why is that? Because they so simple-minded. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand business. Going from this to that and to leave that shit alone at all. You already making millions of dollars already. Why not move it to a different avenue? Simple-minded.
This panel off saying you didn't know about opportunity zones, the legislation. There have been previous incarnations of programs like this that encourage community development, inner city investment, and you know, they've been complex. They weren't widely disseminated information about them, etc. So one of the reasons I got really excited about this legislation is because it's pretty robust and it's pretty unconstrained, and it's not going to be held hostage by complexity and like a small group of people who can work through the complexity, who have teams and processes and systems to figure it out. This is, you know, widely accessible. So I think capital and information, and you know, the point of our opportunity is to spread the information about this program.
And in LA especially, I would go back to, you know, the policies that have been happening, you know, that happened mid-century, that the ripple effects have lasted, you know, decades. I mean, talking about redlining, some of the issues, generational wealth. I mean, you know, how do you build wealth? You know, you buy property instead of renting it, right?
And they're dealing with a lot of hurt. And I think environment plays a big role in that. You know, the conditions that you grow up in play a big role in that. A lot of these brothers and sisters are just products of their environment. So I think when you're creating something like Our Opportunity, where you're keeping the money in the community and you're providing opportunities for the community, you're making people feel like better versions of themselves, you know. And if you feel like a better version of yourself, if you truly, you know, love yourself, you truly value yourself and appreciate your community, then you'll love, value, and appreciate your brother and sister. And I think that's how you stop, you know, these generational cycles of pain, because I think that all we end up doing is redistributing pain to people that look just like us. And I think this is just one of the ways to break the cycle.
I agree, and I don't think there is enough consideration given to the effects of the so-called war on drugs, the crack epidemic, mass incarceration, and the project systems that have plagued these communities that are now seemingly investment dreams for people who didn't have to withstand the conditions of these environments.
That's right.
You know,
That's exactly what I'm saying, man. They don't feel the effects of it. So when they invest or do stuff like that, it doesn't seem the same. It's just like when I was out Pop Place, man, in Virginia, whatever, and I would see a white person come into the Pop Place neighborhood, which is a bad neighborhood, whatever, fix the whole crib up, put a pool and all this stuff in there. Their mentality is not the same as a person that lives there. They be like, we'll be like, what the heck is they doing? Like, this is not the neighborhood to try to do this in. But they don't understand the seriousness of those things. So, like, that's how they get all their money like that. You know what I'm saying?
and I think that is one of the main things that made me so sincerely passionate.
They don't have the fear, you know what I'm saying, that we would have, because we actually seen the stealing and the crime and all of that stuff. They see it, but they don't feel it.
Because if there's going to be some upside coming into the community where I risked my life, my freedom, I got shot at, I got locked up, I saw people die on these curbs and blood run down the street. If it is now going to be paved with gold, I'm going to be right here at the corner when they lay in the pavement. You know what I'm saying?
Real conversations, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for me, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. I am Billionaire Charlie. Put in your donation, man, to support the channel to keep growing. #Billionaire Charlie. Thank y'all, man. I love y'all.